I think Blue Interactive is a very good example of our first deal in Brazil, of what we want to do in the market. But certainly there are key drivers that will make this deal successful, and they are related to, first, the opportunity. There is a regulatory change, an important regulatory change that will make the demand for cable TV and broadband to expand in Brazil, especially in mid-sized cities. And so we're going to take advantage of that. Secondly, there's an opportunity for consolidation of smaller players, and we'll take advantage of that given the quality of our management team. And thirdly, as usual, when we invest in minority deals, we look a lot at the quality of the team, the management team, and definitely we have the best team that we could to do this job in Brazil. Well, because of the regulatory framework, cable TV has been frozen for almost 20 years in Brazil. And so if you look at Brazil, Brazil has over 5,000 municipalities, and only 260 have cable TV currently. And so as Brazil gets further down the road on the digital age, it is a great opportunity to really develop greenfields in these mid-sized cities that are currently unserved and are being only served actually through ADSL and on legacy systems. And so we believe that there is, this regulatory change will make a tremendous impact in the lives of a lot of people in Brazil, and we certainly want to be part of that. I think 3i globally has focusing in 4 sectors: consumer, healthcare, business services, and industrials. I think in Brazil we'll focus mostly on 2 sectors, consumers and business services, because we think those 2 sectors are going to benefit a lot from what's going on in the Brazilian industry. However, I think within these sectors, right, you have, for example, education. Education is something that Brazilians are aspiring to, and there's a lot of demand for that. On the healthcare front, it's a very interesting sector. However, there are certain foreign ownership restrictions which preclude us from freely investing in that sector. So I guess Brazilians want to grow and invest more and spend more money, and there are some obvious sectors that will benefit from that. And we will try to back up companies that really can take advantage of that opportunity. I think that's one of our key competitive advantages in Brazil right now. We are focusing on transactions ranging from $30 to $100 million, and in that space, especially on the smaller side, we are the only truly global player that can bring the network, the brand, to these companies, and not only that, but also specific knowledge on the sectors that we globally invest. And I can give you the example of Blue Interactive, which I think is a very, very, very interesting example. What happened there is that we brought to bear first our business leaders network. The business leaders network is something that was built by 3i along over time, and it's a network of very experienced chairmen and former CEOs of companies, and these guys they help us when we are analyzing a transaction, but also they can be non-executive directors or chairman of the board of the companies that we invest in, and they bring a global strategic perspective to the table. And these smaller companies, mid-sized companies in Brazil, would not have access to that caliber of people if it weren't for us. So in the case of Blue, we brought in Richard Alden, who is the former CEO of Ono, the largest cable TV company in Spain. And Richard brings a lot of knowledge in buy and build, which is exactly what we're trying to do here. On top of that, we have a group, an internal group inside 3i, a group of former consultants that help our companies. And it is called Active Partnership Program. And basically what they do, they look at ways to improve not only the performance of the business, but also the governance. So we try to bring to the table best practices in terms of governance, in terms of on the commercial front as well, and the operational front. And we are doing right now that at Blue. We just concluded a 180-day plan. And despite of the fact that we are minority shareholders, we have the chairman of the board, and we are doing a 180-day plan, to really implement significant changes in the business and allow the business to have, all the tools and all the infrastructure needed to support the growth that we are expecting. Well, I think the volatility in Brazil has reduced significantly. If you compare Brazil to 1996, when I started doing this, it was a lot more difficult to do deals in Brazil, not only because of the currency, but the high interest rates and so on and so forth. But I think the most important change happened in 2005 with the creation of the Novo Mercado, the new market, the stock market, the Bovespa market, which allowed entrepreneurs to really go public. And that's created a very big incentive for companies to do the right thing, to have audited financials, to have governance, and so on and so forth. On top of that, and in parallel to that, the government started, trying to reduce tax evasion in a big way, and that also forced companies to really, start paying their taxes and not evading them, and that environment is very positive for us, for private equity players. On top of that, and combined with that, the high growth of Brazil, of the consumption in Brazil, and that makes, and we stumble across, companies that, 5 years ago were almost in existence, and today they have 500 million reais, 700 million reais in revenues, and that's the type of opportunities that we are looking for.